in the chat.
Somebody has recommended, my lord, a particular candidate to me. My learned friend feels that he is not fit.
But my lord, lobbying is taking place even under this system. This petition was filed to end the system of lobbying.
And only she could have said this, my lord. It's a fact. It's unfortunate, but it's a fact.
If you only once, if it is permissible, you provide for application, then the person should be decided only on the basis of applications. Otherwise, not.
An interview, as I said, my lord, I fully agree with great respect that you cannot have 25 marks for an interview because it skews the mathematical process. It makes it mathematically incorrect. Because if you are going to go by the point system, which I would certainly recommend some point system, but I have prepared a chart of your lordship would be very greatly benefited by looking at how other countries do this job. And very recently, 2 lawyers of Indian origin have been designated.
Let us see the chart.
Yes. This is the chart, but also the original is here. This is the original, this one. Applications to King's Council, guidelines for filing their application. First, if you look at the, Mr. Mehta, I'll give you a copy. And you have a look, Lord, at the Queen's Council guidelines from where we've inherited our guidelines, from where we've inherited our Section 16. Give it to Mr. Mehta. Please give it.
You can have my copy. I'll take her.
Extra copy.
You can give me copy afterwards. I've shared my copy. You
Yes,
can give
yes,
me the
let us go through this.
Copies of the chart.
No, this one.
The King's Council. King's Council. Yeah. Could I share a soft copy?
Oh, it doesn't matter now. You want us to see the chart? We'll see the chart.
Yeah.
Right. Let us go through the chart.
Well, Lord, I've categorized it, and the reason I've put Nigeria, because Nigeria has a point system from which the original judgment takes it. So the law is laid down. In our case, it's Section 16. In the UK, it's a framework by the Lord Chancellor. And in Nigeria, it's Section 6 of the Legal Practitioners Act. That is only the source document. Then your lordship comes to eligibility. Now, the eligibility in the case of India is 10 years standing as an advocate, 10 years combined standing as an advocate. But now 10 years is taken from eligibility for being a judge.
Sorry, one more issue being forgot to flag. We must tell you one more thing. Now, if interaction is to be done by judges of the High Court or Supreme Court, we are completely excluding very eminent lawyers practicing the trial course from designation.
That issue was raised. That they
Can
should
we
be.
ignore? These are eminent trial lawyers we have seen, all of us have seen. We are ignoring them because they don't appear before the High Court.
Yes, my lord. My lord, there's an additional issue.
And there's a full chapter on district courts in our constitution. So we can't say that only High Courts and Supreme Courts are constitutional courts. Your appointment of district judges, appointment of civil judges is not based on the provisions of the constitution. So they are completely expedient because the judges may not have seen their work.
Yes, it's a fact. No. And it's unfair. And so, my lord, please bear with me. The issue is not dignity. The issue is unfairness and equality of opportunity. I just want that to be placed on record. That my concern is equality of opportunity. That's it. And my concern is not that my dignity is gone.
Everybody should get fair opportunity.
Yes.
For being considered for designation.
Yes, my lord. So kindly, my lord, let's not work within the framework of dignity. Let us work within the framework of equality of opportunity.
It also is very important.
Yes,
My lord, it comes automatically. My lord, dignity, I'm sorry, my lord, but dignity will come automatically if you have guidelines. It will come if you have guidelines. My lord. But if you begin at the dignity end, then you're saying it's an honor. It is not an honor. You're being designated for your competence. So please find a way of judging your competence. Otherwise, you will have plenty of those petitioners before you. Lord, the reason I mentioned amicus, this court has appointed this man who has misguided the court 42 times as amicus in pending proceedings in this court. What are we supposed to do, my Lord? Where do we begin? We begin with competence. And please lay down guidelines to determine competence in any which way. It's not about dignity, my Lord. The litigant, the client, is the ultimate beneficiary of your efforts and my efforts.
Yes.
And they deserve the best. So, my Lord, let's not talk about our dignity. Let's talk about the dignity of the person for whom we are working. They deserve the best. They deserve competent people. That's all, my Lord. Lord, if I come back to the chart. So, eligibility, my Lord. And in the UK, the eligibility is the person must have a right of audience, demonstrated excellence and advocacy, both oral and written. Now, my Lord, how this is to be determined, your lordships are the best judges of that. Then in Nigeria, a person shall not be conferred with the rank of senior advocate Nigeria unless he has been qualified to practice as a practitioner for not less than 10 years. Guideline 18 and 19 talk about eligibility, and Guideline 21 states that the rank will also be bestowed on the academics. Look at this, Lord. One more departure from our rules. Under this academics, a person like Upendra Bakshi would be designated. I'm just flagging this for your consideration. Scholarship has a major role to play in becoming a senior advocate. And that is the reason why I had thought of introducing those marks for publications. Now, my Lord, anything can be misused. My learned friend raised the issue that you can get somebody else to write an article and publish it in your name. What is it in this world which cannot be misused, my Lord? But the issue is scholarship over and above and beyond the case you're representing matters. It helps you to become a better lawyer. It helps you to become a better senior counsel. That is why I'm pointing out that there are countries in which academics have been, and my Lord, indeed, even our constitution contains a provision for appointing academics as judges if you want to, if you wish to. So let's not forget the role of scholarship in designating a senior. Then, my Lord, the application processes are mentioned at page 2. I believe that I'm a better lawyer because I read, I study, and I get into the world of academics. Then below the application process, applicants invited by the secretariat candidates must be submitted in detailed forms. I will skip this because your lordship knows this. You look at column 2. Applications required to complete an application form to be included as self-assessment, allowing the applicant to provide his or her own evidence against published competencies. The form also requires applicants to disclose criminal convictions. Now, my lord, this was the concern that your lordship had. Integrity. How is integrity to be judged? Integrity is to be judged by the existence of criminal proceedings against a person, as also any complaints of misconduct which are pending. Because otherwise, how will you judge integrity?
Suppose there is a judgment rendered by a court where certain observations are made and particular lawyer was not fair.
It says so. I think these guidelines say this.
Contempt, for example.
No, these guidelines say that you have to disclose those to the court. Disclose criminal convictions. The selection panel reviewed that under the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act, an applicant need not disclose a spent conviction, and the panel will not take spent conviction into account. Applications will be expected to at least 12 cases of substance. Now, my lord, each word here is important. What is the meaning of 12 cases of substance? I can cite 12 cases in which there is no substance. That is why I said, how will you evaluate whether I have added value to that case before you? And my lord, here in the UK guidelines, they're asking you to tell you unconventional cases that you have argued. In other words, cases without precedent. That's the meaning of an unconventional. Yeah. So applicants will be, otherwise, my lord, I can cite 20 precedents in my favor and get a judgment and walk out of the courtroom.
Where the case is covered, you can always do that.
Yes. Applicants will be expected to list 12 cases of substance complexity of particular difficulty or sensitivity in which they have been engaged as advocate over a period of 3 years. Where an applicant is unable to list 12 cases, over the previous 3 years, he or she may list cases from earlier years, further assessment from an assessor. Now, my lord, there the assessors they have are retired judges, they are peers, and they are clients. Three groups of assessors they have of the person. Look at the rigorous nature of the. Now, my lord, come to Nigeria. The guidelines lay down the process. An applicant must be filled and submitted to the secretariat, etc., subjected to two filters, with feedback provided to unsuccessful candidates. This is another thing that is common to UK and Nigeria. If you're not designated, a person is given feedback to say this is how you can improve. A list after the two filters is sent to the National Secretariat of the Bar Association, the candidate's local branch of the Nigeria Bar Association, the Chief Justice, the Justice of the Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court, who are requested to comment confidentiality on the integrity, competence, and reputation
Okay,
of the
appreciate what
candidate.
you are saying. There are better systems elsewhere. So even those systems need to be considered. We understand what you are saying.
I do
If
understand.
there is a better system,
Yeah.
surely we should derive benefit from that.
Yes, Lord.
That has to be, that will flag that issue also.
My Lord, I have only one concern, and the concern is please don't go back to the old system.
No, we can't do that. We are only going to record, as we said, we also feel that there are serious concerns. And in the light of last paragraph of the judgment, these serious concerns need to be addressed. Ultimate objective is to ensure that, see, no system can be 100% perfect, but we must improve the system. And in what manner the system is to improve, we are going to flag the issue. They should be considered by proper way. That's what we are going to do.
My Lord, indeed. But then my question to this court would be, who's in the best position to give you that feedback and consult them?
That's a different aspect.
No, my Lord, your Lordship will also. My Lord, may I explain? Certainly, the Secretariat will be in a position to tell you what problems they have. Notice should be given to them to give their suggestions. My Lord, perhaps High Courts should give you feedback on the problems they have experienced. My Lord, the Attorney General, who is always a de facto, de jure member of the committee, should give feedback on this. But I don't mean, of course, the main solicitor will also have experience on these issues, and feedback will have to be welcomed. I do not understand why the Supreme Court Bar Association, neither in 2017, nor in 2021, nor today, has come forward before you with their suggestions. I don't understand it, my Lord. But I would expect that this is they are legitimate stakeholders in this process. That they are people who can give you feedback, my Lord. But, my Lord, lobbying is taking place even under this system. This petition was filed to end the system of lobbying.
Therefore, paragraph 74, last paragraph.
But it is not an open house.
And only she could have said this, my Lord. It's a fact. It's unfortunate, but it's a fact. It's really embarrassing.
Lord, your Lordship will have to stop this. With what method, I can't
Therefore,
say.
we'll note these submissions. We have noted submissions of Dr. Murli are not addressed, but in a lighter way, we want to tell you, if you see paragraph 9 of this UK guidelines, paragraph 9,
I'm sorry, my Lord, I'll have to open paragraph.
it says that, no, we need not open it. It says that application must be accompanied by the fee. The standard fee is 2,100 UK pounds. So we should add 0 to it. And entire money should go. Everybody wants to apply for designation. He has to pay substantial amount, so that amount will go to legal aid.
Lord, what can I tell you? The Nigerian guideline.
We don't know what is the exchange rate today, but it is 2,100 plus VAT. Except plus VAT.
Lord, may I raise a rather serious but issue on a lighter note? May I raise it? The Nigerian guidelines actually wants to look at two additional things. They want to look at your accounts. It's in the guidelines. Show us your accounts. Not because they want to know how much you're earning, but because they want to know whether you're taking your fees in cash or check. I'm sorry, I withdraw my words. It's for your Lordship to understand what I'm saying. Certain things are best remained unsaid. But the Nigerian guidelines also require you to go and make a visit to the person's library to look at what kind of literature does this person read beyond the call of duty. Do I read only precedents of the court? Or do I read Salmon on jurisprudence? Do I read Bentham? What do I read? You know, and now that might change because you might want to see my online library. Well, and while on the subject, but I do want to make request. Your Lord's Judges Library is one of the best. It is not accessible to lawyers like us. I am willing to pay that fee, my lord, for access to that library. At least, my lord, lawyers should be given access to that library because I, for one, can't afford to buy or subscribe to all the publications that your lordship's library subscribes to. And I have written letters of this kind to various chief justices. Unfortunately, but not my letters. My letters go into the dustbin. So maybe Mr. Mehta could write that letter on our behalf that give us access to judge on payment of a fee.
Why not? You right?
Yes.
Correct?
I don't mind, but that's some nominal fee
Yes.
for the use and also to
Yes.
to ensure credibility of the person, our my advocate's registration number, etc., will be given to you, my membership of the Supreme Court Bar Association. But I will get access to literature which I don't otherwise have. Otherwise, will not have to pay a bomb if I want to subscribe. Anyway, my lord, yes, I saw that fee. I was a bit shocked by it. It again shows you the system the way it is. Then my lord, I told you recently 2 Indian lawyers have been designated Queen's Counsel in the Supreme by the UK government. But there they have a system of designating you according to your domain expertise. So they say designated for civil, designated for criminal, whatever. That shows you the real expertise of the person concerned. Now, of course, not in our country, again, on a light note, we are all generalists. We are all supposed to know everything under the sun about the law. There's nothing like a specialization.
All right, now we'll get others also on this.
Yeah. Now, so, my lord, there are 2 or 3 things I want to add to my suggestions, and I'm happy to put them down in writing. My lord, your lordship may please have, in order to avoid petitions under 226 and 32, perhaps your lordship could think of introducing an inbuilt system within your guidelines to entertain complaints. If a person feels that they've been wrongly denied
So
designation.
some reverse redress mechanism.
Yes, my lord, 2 mechanisms.
What you suggest is this, just give us a 2-page note by Monday.
Yes.
Whatever suggestions are there,
Yeah.
we'll incorporate in our order.
That would be more than adequate. Apart from the overarching concerns that kindly keep in mind the requirement of equality of opportunity. My lord, that is and one more thing, diversity. Now, my lord, I know it is a difficult subject to deal with and to bring up, but I do wish to bring it up. In my opinion, in a country like India, where our constitution is substantively different from any other constitution in the world, none of them have affirmative action built into the constitution in the manner that we have built into our constitution. And therefore, my lord, in all exercises of a public nature, it is imperative for the court to keep diversity in mind. And the reason is this, my lord, because let's say a scheduled caste or scheduled tribe lawyer is designated, or somebody from the minority community. A client has a comfort level communicating with them. It's nothing to do with a personal benefit. Ultimate beneficiary of this system is the litigant.
Yes.
And my lord, their concerns have to be kept in mind, and in order to respect that concern, my lord, UK also has diversity. They say we don't give quotas. But they say we take diversity into consideration. They take disability into consideration. They take gender into consideration without sacrifice.
All right, please give us a note.
Yeah.
Dr. Mujidar,
Yes.
Lord, I believe that your lordships, even in the appointment of judges, do take diversity into consideration to the best of my knowledge. So, my lord, I'll be happy to give a 2-page note. By Monday. No difficulty by Monday.
Yes, Dr. Mujidar.
Well, I've prepared my note on the basis of the conversations I've had with some of the members of the bar.
Right.
So the one aspect on which I think Ms. Jaising and your lordships also expressed the view, most of them feel that this interview process should be dispensed with because it's not really serving the purpose Also, there is a large number of applicants, 200 plus, whether in the high courts or even here, my lords. And it's not practical for your lordships to garner any assessment, meaningful assessment on personality or other traits, just with that 2-minute or 3-minute interaction. So most of them have expressed misgivings about that interview process. Well, the other thing is on this permanent committee, there are, because now 7 years, and your lordships are aware, with the high courts also, the permanent committee, my lords, consists of 5 individuals who may have the subjective views. What is happening is, as a result of that screening process, the zone of consideration by the full court gets narrowed down, but sometimes with misgivings, because some others who may have got a different kind of an assessment in the hands of the judges are completely excluded from the process. So one
correction will make. One, the present system, you read the judgment carefully.
Yes.
The duty of this permanent committee is only to assign marks. They have no right to recommend.
That's right. That's right.
And all names which are considered, those who appear before the committee, all names must come before the full court.
That's the point.
Selected names.
Yes. So other way,
that's the spirit of the judgment. That's the spirit of the judgment.
Very well. But therefore, the suggestion is that we leave it to the individual judges to make this assessment, including the point that Ms. Jaising made about scholarship. While they're not saying do away with this publication requirement, let that go into that overall consideration of the suitability of the person for designation. But instead of assigning marks, the problem arises with this assigning marks for these individual criteria. Then the subjectivity comes in, and then the results get skewed. So that was the one major change that was coming through, the interview process be dispensed with, and the permanent committee, instead of a permanent committee, the secretariat prepares a chart to tell your lordships whether the eligibility criteria has been met, and the actual awarding of marks or assessing the person, that be left to individual judges. And if 2/3 of the judges present and voting recommend that a certain candidate should be designated, that should then carry weight, and that's the suggestion that has been made. The other thing is, my lords, what is happening is, if an application is defective in any manner, the secretary should be able to tell the candidate that your application is found defective on these criteria, and give a limited window of 1 week to rectify the defects. Instead of, let's say, 15 judgments, the candidate enclosed only 10, or that kind of a thing. The candidate may be told that your application has been found wanting in A, B, C, D, and just given 1 week's time to rectify it. That is one suggestion that has come through. And, my lords, I think Mr. Mehta also made a suggestion, and I am getting this feedback, that the secret ballot system must be introduced, not as an exception, but as the rule. Having been in 3 high courts myself, I can share this with my lords, that judges are reluctant to express...
You can say either way that you are having best of both the worlds.
With respect, I think the amicus wants a rewriting of the judgment. He's asking for...
We are just considering.
I'm not sure, but give me a chance to respond.
We are not going to decide. We are only going to flag these issues, that's all.
Your lordship will flag issues within the meaning of para 74 of the judgment. Mr. Counsel Amicus Learned, Mr. Muralidhar, is going beyond para 74.
Otherwise, also somebody has any suggestion. We can't decide the matter. We are only going to record in our order.
My lord, with great respect, my lord, your lordship will record those issues which fall within the mandate of para 74.
Well, may I just point this out?